had a guest on the podcast today who talked about grace more or less as their main value. And as they were explaining it, I couldn't help but think of the issues with it, of the risks, of downsides. And the example he used to explain it was, imagine somebody gets a speeding ticket, and the cop pulls them over, and instead of giving them a ticket, right, instead of actually giving them a speeding ticket, they give them, as he phrased it, like a golden ticket, which says, you never have to worry about getting a ticket again. You're all good. I understand you probably had something going on. There's probably issues. You don't need more trouble in your life. Like, don't worry about it, type thing. And as you might imagine, my response was like, but where's the accountability? Like, what if that person exploits it? And what I thought about more through the conversation, and this is one of those instances I say all the time where it's like, a lot of people probably already knew this already, but there's something about the words not doing it justice. You have to kind of get there on your own path. The idea of grace, forgiveness, maybe another word for it, but grace I think even takes it to another level, is to, as the person worded it initially, like, do the illogical thing in that case. Like, give them grace, give them this golden ticket that frees them of any burdens from it. And that seems to make no sense. But the belief is almost as I would talk about, like, more basic math will get you to give them a speeding ticket because that's going to hold them accountable. The more sophisticated PhD level math gets you to the point that recognizes there's greater good to be had here. And although it may burn me or others in the short term, mathematically, when you net it out, we're better off giving grace. Kind of gets to the point of, like, hurt people, and that those are the people that need the most love. So, like, when somebody does something that hurts you, that's the time to show them love. And I get it, but I also get the hesitation, and I guess I'm not sure that I'm 100% there, although I get it more. But is it realistic to expect us to do that at scale, to think and act in that way? Because it's such a big bet. It's such a big bet we're placing on the fact that it's going to turn out net positive. Because it may not. And also, even if it does ultimately turn out net positive, there might be a lot of little negatives, or maybe some big negatives along the way. And how do you justify that? To those people that get hurt because of it, how do you explain it to them? I don't know. I don't know the answer, and I find myself kind of thinking of it in my everyday life of, like, opportunities I have to give grace, to do the seemingly illogical thing. In some ways, it's the George Washington moment, right? To do the thing where on paper it makes no sense to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's so complex because it's a big bet. There's also kind of an implicit assumption in the bet that it's going to net positive, which benefits you as well. So then it starts to get into this realm of, like, are you even doing it for a selfless reason, or are you doing it for a selfish reason? And if there is a selfish reason in it, is that okay? But then there's a part of me that says, well, like, this is your problem. You're taking a topic that's as beautiful, and in some ways the reason for its beauty is its simplicity, like grace, and you're twisting it all up, you're dissecting it, and you're destroying it. You're destroying the essence of what it actually is by the questioning. And I might be. But how do you take that leap of faith? A lot of people would tell me it's a feeling. You'll know it. You'll feel when it's the right thing to do. And trust that. Don't trust your mind, because your mind, and that's an interesting concept when you think about it, that we can't trust our own minds, therefore just go with emotion. Like, that's the solution. If you can't trust your own minds, it's not reliable, well then why not just go with feelings? Why not go with that gut feel or that intuition? Because maybe it's as reliable as your own mind. I don't know, where I started to land on this is, and I don't know that I'll solve it on the grace thing here, but the reason I'm trying to kind of train my mind as much as I am is so that in moments where I'm struggling, right? I'm trying to think about maybe an instance to show grace, and maybe my feelings tell me, yeah, I kind of get it, it might be the right thing to do, but logic in my mind starts questioning and being like, I don't know, I think you might get burned. you're never going to be able to reconcile that, just those two participants, right? The feeling side and the logic side. You almost need to be able to completely detach and look at it truly objectively, right? And maybe I used the wrong word before, the logical side. It's more like the mind side, the thinking, letting your thoughts kind of take over versus just going with what you feel. The better solution is to strive for is to be able to detach and truly logically, objectively look at it and kind of understand the feeling component, understand the mental component, and try and cut through all the bullshit and get as much clarity as you can to kind of make that decision. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to practice those moments where it gets tough to kind of step outside and just be like, all right, let me just look at this for what I think it is. Can you do that? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to train myself to do. So if something happens, if somebody hurts me in some way and I want to show them grace, or I consider showing them grace, would I be able to actually detach and step outside from it and see the math, actually see the whole chessboard and determine what the best answer is? I guess that's the bet I'm placing, that if I read enough, if I talk to enough people, if I'm reflective enough, if I meditate enough, if I have enough gratitude, if I change my perspective, if broaden my perspective enough, I'll be able to do that. And I guess we'll see.